Well, good evening. Hey, Houston. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to give folks a chance to get up in here from the Facebook crowd. Um, but we got a lot to talk about this evening. I usually do these Hey Houstons solely on Facebook, but every once in a while I'll jump over here on YouTube and do them as well. So we'll get started here shortly. Um, Hopefully everyone is doing okay. So let me just go over a few announcements, like the church announcements while folks are joining us. I'm going to do the church announcements. So the first thing I want to remind everyone is early voting here in Texas begins on October 20th. So a week from this Monday, early voting will begin. And so to make sure to go vote early. Don't wait till election day. If you can go vote early, please do. Another thing that I want to remind you is, well, first, early voting goes through the end of October. But I want to remind you to do this. If you are in Harris County, be an election worker. I think the pay starts at $17 an hour, including your training. So if you're in Harris County, go ahead and sign up to be an election day worker. There are more things on the ballot than just this congressional 18 race that everyone is talking about, right? We have over 17 propositions, meaning proposals as amendments to the Constitution, to the state Constitution. There's 17 of them. They will be on the ballot. So please, please, please make sure that you are prepared. So either go vote early, vote on election day, November 4th, or be an election worker. Again, that's $17 an hour. You can find more information on harrisvotes.com. That's Harris County Clerk's Office. Our county clerk is Mrs. Tanisha Hudspeth. So please, 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 please make sure that you go vote. You can vote early, beginning October 20th through the end of October. Election day is November 4th. And Harris County will need election workers, again, because we have several things on our ballot, including a special election for Houston City Council position 4, which is being vacated by current Houston City Council at-large member Dr. Letitia Plummer. Let me write down my notes. I got one more thing I need to talk about tonight, because I'm serious about our time, so I'm gonna keep us on schedule. So I got my little notes. And yes, my card matches my shirt. All right, so got early voting out of the way. If you're on right now, do me a favor. Share this link with, let's say 3 people. I like the number 3. Share it with 3 people, all right? Share it with 3 people right now. Go ahead and do that, and let's get started. So another announcement while y'all are doing that sharing. On October 21st, I believe this will be the final debate before Election Day, and that will be at Texas Southern University, and it's hosted by students at the Thurgood Marshall School of Law, located at Texas Southern University, which is in the heart of the 18th Congressional District. So make sure you make plans to attend that debate at Texas Southern University. Make sure you arrive on time. Don't arrive on time, arrive early, because if you arrive on time, you're not going to have a parking space. Okay. Or Uber, but that will be at Texas Southern University. And I believe that is a Tuesday, October 21st. So make sure that you attend that. I'm not sure if it's going to be streamed. Hopefully it will be streamed. There will be 4 candidates on that debate stage, only 4. I told y'all these numbers people gonna start shrinking who they want to hear from. And so those candidates include, and I'll say them in alphabetical order from last name. So that would be Edwards, Jones, Menifee, and Montiel. Okay. So Amanda Edwards, Jolanda Jones, Christian Menifee, and Carmen Montiel. Those will be the 4 candidates at that debate on the 21st. All right, I think I got all the church announcements out of the way. Y'all ready for why we on here? Because we got a lot to talk about. All right. So this week, a lot of people have been circulating the interview from last week. Y'all been circulating all of the interviews, but particularly the last one, the one with Isaiah Martin. So the last time I was on live, I sat down with Isaiah Martin to learn more about him, conversations with candidates. That interview was a good interview. Let me be clear. It was a good interview. Those journalism classes I used to take paid off. Being on the journalism team in high school paid off. My mama making me read and me stand up, read next to a nightlight, all that paid off because it allows me to engage well. And so I did my best to engage with Mr. Martin to learn more about him, to learn about his experiences in the congressional district and what he would bring to the district as our member of Congress. A lot of people have said, well, he's young, and they use that as an excuse. So let me tell you something. For those of you who do not live in Houston, who do not live in Harris County, or even the metropolitan area of Houston or Texas at all, I'll say this as a resident, as an educator, and as someone who's lived all over this country. I love to brag and say I've lived on all three coasts. Born on the Gulf Coast and back on the Gulf Coast now. So I will tell you this, young people are always strong and ready for office. There are many young people who are always strong and ready for office, but it doesn't mean that everyone is. And so last week when I finished that interview, at the end of the interview, I said, I'm about to go live on Facebook or something like that. And I did. And let me tell you all, for those of you on YouTube who don't have the privilege of following me on Facebook, basically what I said is you can't vote for Isaiah Martin for at least 2 years. And the reason why I said that is, and I'm going to say it and make it very clear, crystal clear, he lacks the emotional maturity. That is why he's crashed out the way he has across social media. That is why he's attacked people. He's called people who will be his constituents if he were to be elected. He called someone a dumbass. Now, y'all just sit with that. And that someone was a Black woman who has actually given him his flowers for months as a young person, because it is joyful to see younger people running for office. But there is a responsibility that comes with it. And you just can't say, well, it's because I'm young or you all are the establishment. Baby, I'm nobody's establishment. I'm an independent journalist, blogger, podcaster, writer, whatever you want to call it. I've done it all, right? But I'm very much independent. Don't nobody pay me but the people who I work for, right? And that's the state of Texas. So I think it's very ingenuous to think that people get paid when they don't. Just like he didn't get paid when he worked for the Congresswoman. Yes, that is shade. And that's why this is called Pretty Petty Politics. Okay, moving on. But we do have some young people. And so I want to give them their flowers. Now, I've literally given one of them physical flowers because I'm just so proud of them. But we have some young people here in Harris County, the who's who you need to look out for and who you need to support in their future endeavors. And that includes Otis, Carisha, and Tyler. That's just three. And I like to do threes. That's why I told y'all to share with three people. But that's just three examples of young people who are doing the work, who have the experience, who've been on the ground, who've been building community, who've been doing grassroots work, who people know and respect on the ground in the community across Harris County. They didn't have just, no, I won't go there. These are people who are working, okay? I don't know if somebody have any of their phone numbers. Y'all can text them and ask them, do they want to join this stream tonight? But, and I have all their numbers. I don't have Tyler's number, but I've known Tyler since, let me talk about Tyler. Let me back up. So I've known Tyler since he was an undergraduate student at Texas Southern University when I was a professor at Texas Southern University. I knew Tyler was on his way somewhere great in the realm of politics. You know how I know that? Because I watched Tyler. Tyler was a listener. Tyler was kind. Tyler was considerate, and Tyler had that thing. He wasn't boisterous. He wasn't thirsty. Y'all know what I mean by thirsty. But Tyler was just, you know how you can look at somebody and know that they just have that gift? He has that, and he has had that. And I don't think I've ever told him that. I've said this online before, but he has had that since his undergraduate days. And he probably was a freshman or a sophomore back when I worked at Texas Southern University. And so to see him fast forward 8 years later running for state representative, literally he announced last month that he is running for Texas State House of Representatives. That is huge for me. And at the end of this month, I'm going to write him a check, not a check, but y'all know what I mean. I'm a Apple pay him some money to his campaign. That's a check today. But Tyler is extraordinary. He's brilliant. He has done the work. He has grown, and he's not around here playing in people's faces. And I'll just leave it at that. Another person, because everybody know Otis, so I don't have to do Otis, right? But another person would be Carisha Rogers. Now, Carisha, you can't miss if you see her. My little sister is not little at all. She is all of 6'4". She is brilliant. She is a grassroots worker. I met Carisha because when I heard her open her mouth of last August of 2024, I was like, who is she? Because she knows where she is going. Quite literally. I called up Travis McGee. Y'all probably heard me talk about Travis. I called up Travis McGee and I was like, who is that girl? Carisha, whatever her name is, that Rogers. And because during the debate, she was on the panel for to get on the ballot for last year when the vacancy first happened for Congressional District 18. And she was up there with the heavy hitters. And one of the first things she said is, you all in the audience might not know me, but everybody on this stage knows me because I have helped them. And I was like, you better go, girl. And they do. They all do know her. I remember when Congressman Turner, or as we call him, Mayor Turner, got the votes, the precinct chair votes to appear to be on the ballot for the November election after the death of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. I remember after that at Wheeler Avenue, how Carisha went over to him. I took the picture of the two of them. I said, Carisha, you're going to need this. This is going to be important. And I'm not big on pictures, but I remember taking that picture, telling her that you're going to need this picture in the future. And I remember watching him and how he talked to her and how he just engaged her. And one of the things that he said is, I'm so proud of you. I heard it from myself. He said, I'm so proud of you because you're a young person. You're a young person doing this work and doing it for real. Like the way he was expressing himself to her and giving her her flowers. That was huge. And I know if I won't never forget, I know she'll never forget it. So Carisha Rogers, who was in this race, Congressional District 18 race again this year, she stepped out of the race, recognizing that she was not as competitive as a candidate as she would have hoped to have been. And she put her support behind one of the other candidates in the race. And I'll go ahead and say it because it's public information. She put her support behind Christian Menifee. But what I love about Carisha is she walks it like she talks it. Literally, she walks it like she talks it. She has worked and organized all across this county. She knows Harris County. She knows this district. She knows the city of Houston. She knows how to organize people. She knows how to organize door knocking. She knows how to read the data, honey, and to gather it. So when I say we're not against young people, because hell, we used to be young people not too long ago. Now I ain't young people no more. I'm a very grown 40-some-year-old woman. But my point is, we cannot act like we don't have young people around here that aren't being supported, because we do have them. We do. And they're doing the work. So this whole thing with Isaiah Martin has nothing to do with him being young. What it has something to do with is his lack of experience. And you don't need a whole bunch of age to have experience. What you have to have is the desire, the commitment, and the follow through. And The other reality is TikTok is great. It's a great fundraiser. It's a great platform to get information out there. Hell, I love TikTok. I have to throw my phone out the room damn near so I can go to bed at night so I'm not on TikTok all night. But TikTok won't be showing up at the ballots at the polling stations on November 4th or during early voting. Most of the people who are on TikTok who are so opinionated about what's happening in Congressional District 18, who are going to talk a lot of shit on November 5th when that young man doesn't win this race, what they don't realize is you giving money and being able to stay up late at night and, you know, enjoy debate talk, that's one thing. But living in this district and knowing this district and having the privilege, honor, and responsibility to vote in this district is a whole nother thing. So let's stop the bull about we don't support young people, because we do. We really do. And they get developed. A friend of mine and some others were referred to as the establishment or being paid by the establishment. And at first I thought that was really ugly and dirty. But you know what? I'll take it. I even wear a sweatshirt. I'll be glad when the weather breaks. So don't laugh when I have on my sweatshirt or my hoodie. But here's the thing. If we are the establishment, or if we are the voices that people are listening to, good for us. Good for us to be committed to doing the research, for asking the tough questions and having the conversations, because we care about the future of our communities. We can no longer afford to just let people come sit next to us, ask for our votes, and we give them to them free willy, just because they're charismatic or because they can say a lot of buzzwords and speak very surface level. No, we're going to ask questions. We're going to research. We're going to look you up. Why you think we went to school and got all this education? Not just agreeing. Hell, I wish I could just sit and be pretty, but I can't. I can't afford that. I have to do work. I have to do work because I owe it to my community and I owe it to those who came before me. So no, this is the seat that was first sat in by the Barbara Jordan. You're not just going to slide up in here. No, just because you worked along with Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, everybody has worked along with Sheila Jackson Lee in some capacity. And then for those who people do know who have worked with her over a long expanded length of time, they don't have anything positive to say about that young man. And they're pissed because, and I know they're pissed because I've talked to them. They're pissed because it's almost as if you're using her, or he's using her as a token instead of standing on his own work. And I think that is the bigger problem. It's nothing wrong with him having interned for her, because that is what was initially given. There's nothing wrong with him having been named a senior advisor to her. As he said, that is a title that was given to him. The problem is you have to have more to stand on than a title. That was the whole point of me last week, quoting one of my favorite scriptures, which is Romans chapter 15, verses 1 and 2. Your strength is not for status, it is for service. And I stand on that. I believe in that. And I'm going to hold you to that. If you want to represent me, you got to have some service, baby. This ain't no popularity contest. You got to, if you don't have a record of being elected, at least have a record of having served. And even having a record of being elected is not enough. You still have to have a record of having served. So I'm going to come back to that. If y'all have any questions, y'all can put them in the chat. So this is something I've been wanting to talk about. And we're going to do a live. I'm going to do a live with a couple of creators from social media. But I want to briefly talk about this whole theory of us having a serial killer here in Houston. Now, ain't none of us, and ain't none of y'all, so ain't none of us, and I mean ain't none of us truly detectives or investigators for Houston Police Department. None of us. And all of us got a cousin or somebody like a cousin that knows somebody that worked for HPD. And we know every organization has a leak. Ain't shit leaked out that would give a reasonable person a reason to believe that there's a serial killer. In fact, all that has been shared would say the exact damn opposite. However, we want to, or we have been convinced that there is. Oh, hold on. Pause. I'm going to go back to this. I got to announce it because history was just made. Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces are the WNBA champions. Congrats to her. And yes, I stopped mid conversation. So this is their third time in 4 seasons, and they swept the Mercury. Congratulations to her. Yes, I stopped it because I'm not wearing pink and green for no reason. That is my sorority sister. So congrats to her. She is the GOAT. So I'm really excited about that. But back to this whole thing, serial killer. And hold on, Houston, Tillman, Fertitta, when you finish being ambassador to Italy, can we get a WNBA team? Can you start campaigning for that? Okay. There is no serial killer. And if there is, it's probably because y'all talked them into the damn job. Listen, we have 2,500 miles of waterways in Houston. I know Houston, I'm damn near reading my thread off the top of my head. I know Houston doesn't look like a city with water. We do not perceive the bayous as bodies of water. Most people just think of them as trails, ditches, river, like we don't see them for what they are. And when you look at them, they look like still bodies of water, but that current underneath is moving. And so I know people have been saying, but they keep finding bodies in the same places. Are they? Are they though? Are they? Do they come from the same places? Because if there was a serial killer or serial killers or just people who are dumping people in the hundreds of miles of bayou, they could come from anywhere across the county. The thing is, the way the waterways work, they all begin to convene mostly into the Buffalo Bayou near or just past downtown. As the Buffalo Bayou carries, just like the San Jacinto River does, carries water out into the ship channel, ultimately into the bay, thus the Gulf of Mexico. So the other part is where bodies are being found are also in very densely populated areas. So it's more likely that if there are remains in the water, they're being found in areas where people would see them because it's not like heavily wooded. They're more open. People are using these trails. These trails have been constructed for people to bike, run, hopefully y'all not skating, walk, but y'all give them folks some time to finish their investigation. Y'all said all these people were killed. I listened to a press conference, and I'm going to say it. I listened to a press conference, including led by someone who is running for county judge, who is a current member of city council. And she said killings, and she kept saying killings. And I was like, I said something real slick, and so I'm going to say it again because I mean it with sincerity, and it is petty, but it is also truthful. Let's not use the term killings just because someone died. Please, that is a legal term. And when you say somebody was killed, you're saying that a murder took place. And so you're literally very much so, not inciting to people or inciting emotions inside of people. And I won't say you're intentionally fear-mongering, but you're leading people to believe that somebody was killed. Like the man on the 18th literally jumped into the bayou, and eyewitnesses saw this. And hours later, his body was recovered. There's something to be said about that. Sometimes things are accidental. Living by these bayous, by 2 of the major bayous, having lived very closely to 2 of them for the past 10 years, I can tell you bodies being found in those bayous aren't new. And oftentimes they're either intentionally where the person has put themselves in the water, or it's an accident. It might be someone who was drunk, overly intoxicated, like the Black young man who had been out drinking in the Heights, who was reported missing, and they thought somebody had kidnapped him or done something to him, and he was found in the bayou. And his family is suing or sued the bar for over-serving him. I don't think we think about the families and the impact. These aren't just names we get to read on social media or in mainstream media. These are real people with real lives, right? They're not just social media content. These are real people with real families. And I think we're so hyped to get clicks and retweets and reposts and interactions so we can make some money off these platforms that we don't think about thinking. You got to consider that these are people's children, their siblings, their parents. How do the families feel when they know one thing, but every time they open up Facebook or whatever platform, they got to hear you talking about what happened to their child, and you don't know what the hell you talking about. You're talking out the side of your neck, and you're not being considerate. But I think you're not being considerate because you're not using critical thinking. Critical thinking matters. So again, I'm going to do a whole, probably do a 2-part series on that. But there are a couple of people that I'm going to do that with. But I just wanted to mention that. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. So back to Isaiah Martin. Isaiah Martin probably, if I were a betting woman, he probably will have less than 5% of the vote. Some people say that he won't even meet the margin of error. That's a cold world. Some people say it's my fault that he's being dragged in the media because I shouldn't have done that interview. It's not. It's not the fault of other creators who interviewed him. It's of no one's fault but his own. It has nothing to do with him saying that he was a senior advisor. Just like I have other friends and people that I know from social media and from working in the community that, they posting their pictures like, well, hell, I was a senior advisor too. It has nothing to do with that. I think the issue for Isaiah Martin is that unless it's something sensationalized, he gets no traction. I think that's it. Prior to him falling, and I've said this, y'all go back and watch my videos. I've said this, and can't nobody beat me up. You won't. Isaiah Martin fell in Austin. Not only did he fall, Jesus would have to tap me on my shoulder and say, baby girl, it wasn't a stunt. Because I think it was a stunt. But the Lord can tell me that it wasn't, and I believe him. But the rest of you folks, I'm not believing it. It was a stunt. It was. Go back and watch the whole thing. It was a stunt. And we have to call a thing a thing. And it's okay. It worked. He said he has a record fundraising for this quarter, this cycle of fundraising, right? And so we'll see next week when those reports drop from the FEC. They probably will drop midweek next week by Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll see if he raised this record number of amount of money. And if he did, he still would not have raised as much as the other candidates in this race, or some of the other candidates that are leading on the ground, polling. He still won't meet them. He'll just have a lot of money. And that is why I said y'all can't vote for him in anything for the next 2 years. Because of that money, he will be able to pivot into another race. But unless he has the emotional maturity, because when you're talking to me like this and you want to represent me and your hand is in my face, you are not emotionally mature. And when your daddy has the audacity to get in the comments on social media and talk to people the way your daddy talked to people, that tells me that the apple don't fall far from the tree. And I said what I said. Shame on Mr. Ronnie Martin. Here I am. Never mind. I'm not going to even go there. Shame on you. Shame on you, because you want to incite people to be disrespectful to you so that y'all can use that as content. It's almost like clickbait. And I was just taken away that someone's father would behave like that. Someone's father, the father of someone who wants to be our member of Congress. It's really disappointing. And see, when you sit up on TikTok and you got millions of viewers, I know it makes you feel like you are on top of the world. You know what I'm saying? When you have viral moments and all of that, it feels good. It pumps you up, right? But the reality is, election day is November 4th. Make it translate at the booth. And because of the lack of work on the ground in Houston, Texas. Let me be very clear. In the 18th Congressional District, you're not connecting with the voters. How do I know this? Because I talk to them. I talk to them in all age groups, socioeconomic situations, all of that. Business owners, you're not connecting to them. They're like, who? Some of them like, the only reason why I know who they are, who he is because of your content, because you share these videos, because you share the streams with us when you go to the debates and the forums. And I do. Because everybody can't go across town to all these damn forums and debates. And I'm sick of these forums. Oh, I'm so tired of them. So I share them so that they can be there virtually. They're not impressed with the antics. It's not cool the way you talk to Carmen. Y'all can have different political views, because I have different political views than Carmen, right? But you don't have to be disrespectful. And she was not wrong last Saturday at Willa for moving podiums. And then you antagonized her when she did. Come on, bro. That's what I'm saying. The emotional maturity isn't there. You talk about all this stuff about Trump, but then you act just like him. Your behavior. So grow up. Your daddy not telling you clearly because he's too busy being in people's comments and atting people. So I'm going to tell you, grow up. I saw a video today that said, basically, and it's Kirk Franklin's podcast, whatever you call it. You know, he do the little dinner with the men or lunches with the fellas. But NLE basically tells Ray J, you can't show everybody something unless they're willing to receive it. I remember when I first met Isaiah Martin. This was back in May of this year, maybe May or June. We were at one of Tamani's Thursday morning breakfasts, and I listened, you know, and I started asking questions. Then I went live because I realized, like, okay, who's this young fella, you know? And I engaged him. And so I have watched him throughout these last several months. He lacks the emotional maturity, y'all. He just does. And he's unwilling to be critiqued. And that's not wise. We need a leader who's going to be wise, who's going to have the emotional maturity, not just words. We also need someone who knows this community intimately, who truly knows this community and who this community trusts. And because this community doesn't know him yet, they don't trust him yet. Doesn't mean that he cannot evolve and grow and mature, because all of us have had a point in our lives where we weren't ready. We were qualified for whatever it was we were pursuing probably, but we weren't ready, right? You can't crash out and burn every time somebody disagree with you. You can't be calling constituents that you want to represent. You can't be calling them dumbasses. Fuck out of here. Sorry, mama. Try not to cuss. But y'all know what I'm saying? You just can't do that. So that is why I'm saying, give him a few years. 2028 is too soon. If he turn around and pivot after this loss next month, and I said it, if he turn around and pivot and jump in another race, it's going to be plenty of money to spend. But unless he's spending time working in the community, not campaigning, that's a different thing. That's a different thing now. Unless he's spending time working and proving and showing why he should be the next representative or whatever elected official, then no, you've got to put in the work. And we shouldn't want people to just slide in. We want people who have a body of work. And a body of work doesn't require you to be of a certain age. That's why I asked him, you know, last week, I was like, well, what have you done since U of H with sexual assault? You said that was your program. You started that organization for the students, and it was all about, you know, helping victims of violence and sexual assault. And I kept trying to nudge him to expand. Like, what happened to it? Like, you just pick that up for a second and then put it back down. Like, what about the sustainability? Because that is something that transferred, that's bigger than college. I mean, we're in October right now. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. See, that is work that continues. You know, like, I have a friend, Niecy Hamilton. Niecy Hamilton was running for District D. I didn't know Niecy from a can of paint. I had met her one time prior to knowing that she was running for office. I met her over at on Griggs at that JP courthouse for a meeting. We were there for an evening meeting but anyway. But when I heard her on that debate stage, I was like, she got some stuff going for her, but this ain't it. And I'm that kind of person. I'm not a dream killer, but I will let you know this ain't it. And you probably need to pivot. I have that honest conversation with you to kind of peel back the layers and find what it is that you really want to do or what's really your passion. And Niecy, for her, is trafficking. She knows it as a survivor. She knows it. And we talked about it. I was like, what is this thing that you talking about? You going to help with the strays in district, the strays? Come on, girl. You know you ain't interested in no damn strays. And we laughed. You know, we had the coffee shop. This is a true story. Niecy will come on here and confirm this. You can ask her. We had this conversation, and I know she could have cussed me out left and right, up and down Alameda Road, and she would not have been wrong, because who the hell do I think I am, right? But I saw her giftedness, and I was willing to pour into her. I didn't just tear her down. I also gave her some suggestions to lift her up. Niecy Hamilton is now one of the most sought after advocates in this area when it comes to talking about and training folks around recognizing victims of sexual sex trafficking, right? She helps victims of domestic violence. She helps people get housed, helps their children get housed, help them get resources, help them get job training. Real story. She pivoted away from that and went and did something that she truly believes in. If she wants to turn around and come back and run for office, now she has a body of work. That's all I'm saying. Where's your body of work, young man? We're not knocking you because you young. Our heroes were young leaders. Kind of mess is that for us to knock you because you young? We ain't knock you because you young. We knocked you because we want you to knock out some service. Like, we want you to do something. Don't just talk about it, be about it. Don't tell us what you're going to do. Tell us what you're doing, right? Tell us what's going on. Tell us what's your body of work. You want to represent us. You don't have to be elected. And for that to be your default answer, well, I'm not elected. Hell, do you want to be? Because you need some work. You need some credibility. You need some street cred. That's why I said, where are your receipts? Now, all of a sudden, he making content talking about, I bring the receipts. And then you quote Lily Coney. And from what the street's saying, that wasn't the best reference for you to use, because never mind. But that wasn't the best reference for you to use. And I think you know why. Because you were a senior advisor. I think you would know why. Anyway, so I do thank the Martin campaign for not smearing my name or my platform in their social media content. But if they do, please tell them to come watch Pretty Petty Politics on September 30th. Because if you're going to bring the receipts, bring all of them. Let them view that, not just some clips. And if you use these clips, make sure you have permission, and you don't have permission to use any clips from Pretty Petty Politics. Do I make myself clear? Okay, so what else y'all want to talk about? Those are the things that I had on my list. Again, early voting starts on the 20th. There's a debate at Texas Southern on the 21st, hosted by Thurgood Marshall School of Law. Let me just go back. Hold on. Let me go back to this thing about being young. Again, Malcolm X was a young man. Malcolm and Martin didn't even make it to 40. They did not live to see 40. Fred Hampton was 21. Where's your body of work? See, it don't have nothing to do with age. I've been fighting. You ask anybody who went to college with me, I've been fighting the power for years. Organizing, strategizing, helping people. I help people now. I don't have to talk about it because they talk about it for me. But if I need to talk about it, I can. And that's the difference. That's all we're saying. Where's your work? We're not saying that you're not qualified. The Constitution, Article 1, tells us you're qualified. You meet the age, the citizenship, the residence, In Texas, you meet the qualifications. But do you meet the requirements in the community to represent us? That's all we're saying. It's a lot of people in this race who meet the qualifications but don't have the requirements. And that's why you're not hearing their names. Come on now. Don't play in our faces like we dumb. Don't spit on me or piss on me and tell me it's rain. Please don't spit on me. I don't know how much restraint I'm gonna have if you do that. Respectfully. So y'all ain't saying nothing to me in these comments, so that means I can go to bed. I can go upstairs and get ready for bed. Y'all got anything to say before I go to these closing remarks? But I'm really not here for folks playing around like Courtney was wrong, because she wasn't. Oh, let me say that. Courtney had an interview before my interview. Erica said, edit my video. Erica wanted me to clip up my video. Erica, when I got time, just tell me when I got time. But Courtney's interview was before mine. I don't even know what day. Mine was last Tuesday, the 30th. Here's the thing. The only person that knew about both these interviews is Isaiah. Isaiah knew. Isaiah knew he had to interview with us. Isaiah had the advantage when it came to sitting down with me, though, because I had already interviewed 5 people who was in this race. Plus, I have years of content on YouTube and on Facebook where I've interviewed people, where I've had conversations with people, where I've challenged people. I push back. You're not going to come up here with this BS. I'm going to let you talk. I'm going to let you have all the space, but you're going to have to answer the questions. Like, maybe, I don't know. I didn't understand why he thought he was walking into the fire. His campaign manager seemed very comfortable. His campaign manager sat over across from us on his phone, just scrolling on his phone. Like, he was comfortable. His campaign manager didn't stop the interview and say, get out of here. Let me pull my candidate out because this is too intense. This is the fire. But maybe the check had cleared. I don't know. All I'm saying is, don't play in people's faces and do not be around here online disrespecting Black women, calling them dumbasses. And you talking about you want to represent us. Don't do that. Don't gaslight us. Don't play in our face. Don't do that. Please. It's not our fault. Nobody, I don't know. Don't make us call the Chronicle. Because we'll ask the reporter, well, how'd you get the story? Did you just see it online? Who dropped it in your ear? Because for all we know, you might have contacted the media so you could have this whole new, what do you call it? Free press. I mean, I ain't mad at it. Free press is good. I am not mad at it. You know, this is another wave of support for you to get on social media. First, you had the Tubi movie. And yes, I called it a Tubi movie to his face. I've been calling it a Tubi movie since the night it happened, y'all. I promise you, since that Thursday night when it happened, I have been calling it a Tubi movie. I promise y'all, because it was a terrible production. It was. It was. You want to represent us, but you go sit. You have an opportunity to sit when most of the people in this body, in this congressional district, did not have the opportunity to travel to Austin to speak to the redistricting committee. You had the opportunity and responsibility as the person who wants to represent us. You had the opportunity. You went up there and you did not take advantage of the opportunity. Instead of, you took an advantage of people's emotions, because you went up there and you played in them people's face. You said nothing of substance while you were up there at all. Then you broke the quorum intentionally, repeatedly, without any regard. Then when they actually gave you more time than allotted before they even interrupted you, and you didn't recognize that because you were so caught up into your own ego that you said something about like their facial expressions or how they were looking at you or something to that extent. And really what they were doing was looking at you like, okay, wrap this up because your time has expired. And it had. So when you go back and watch the video, people can tell that your time had expired. We're literally watching the time that it had expired. And they let you go on. And then the chair, and not no respect, disrespect, no nothing towards the gentleman from Brazoria County, who's the chair of that committee. He said, okay, basically, he was like, okay, Mr. Martin, begin wrapping up your comments. Like he gave you, he gave you the rope. Like he gave you the opportunity and you fumbled it. And so now the sergeant at arms have been called in. And now they're like, okay, even then, they're like, just turn off his mic. This is what I mean when I say it was a stunt. Turn off his mic. They turn off your mic, you still going. And now you're acting, you cutting up. And then you fail. Ain't nobody trip you, ain't nobody knock you down. And what put the icing on the cake for me, because baby, I don't watch that thing from all kind of angles, all kind of videos. It was the older Black woman at the back of the room near the exit. And the way she looked on that floor down at Isaiah Martin, like, if you don't get your narrow ass up, acting up like this in here, that's how she looked at you. Just so disgusted. I know you. She was like, I know you lying. That's how that lady looked at you. And that's how most of us looked at you too. Because like, seriously, dude. But immediately, your team took to social media and shared what had happened immediately, almost as though it were planned. Was it planned? See, now I could have asked you that during the interview, but I was trying to respect you. But was it planned? Huh? Okay. And then they show you outside walking, you fixing your suit. Like, it's so much to be taken into consideration, but we want to be able to take you serious. So let's stop these stunts and attempts to sensationalize for social media this race, and instead do something effective in the community that we can get behind as voters. And yes, I mean we can get behind as voters, because we do not care about what you portray on social media if it's not helping us as a community. It's one thing to get online and talk about, hey, this great thing that we've been successful with organizing, executing, or whatever. That's one thing, but you're not doing that, bruh. You're not. And it's not cool to act like, well, these people, they're the establishment, they're trying to knock me, and their last dig at us, they're being paid to disrupt my campaign. Baby, by who? Show me the money and make sure it's a big check. Because baby, I'm not no sellout. Show me the money. I don't like that. And don't call my friend no dumbass. She's fucking brilliant. Excuse me, mama, for cussing. But don't do that. Expand your vocabulary. Build relationships. Build community. Get some damn work done. Stop playing with us. We'll be here when you do some work. We'll be here to support you when you have proven that you can be trusted, that you have the emotional maturity. And that is the problem. You do not. You know how many people I know spent days with the congresswoman, who have supported the congresswoman, who have worked for the congresswoman, who probably, like, do you understand? This is Houston, baby. We are a community. Stop playing. Stop playing with us. Stop playing with us. Houston, take care of Houston. You're not acting very Houston-y. Houston didn't knock you down. You went up there and you failed. And you used that moment for clout and raising money. And I called it when it happened. I said, oh, he's going to use this for campaign. He'd be a fool if he didn't. But you also should have used it to be in the community. And I don't mean knocking doors. I just don't get it. Yes, you spent time working with the congresswoman. Great. I remember spending time during Harvey just working And then all of a sudden being told that I was being honored by the congresswoman who I had never formally met because she had heard about my work during the hurricane. That's what people want. People want to know you work. Your reputation should go before you. You know what I'm saying? People should know about your work product before they meet you. They should be like, oh, I heard about you. And it's something positive. Not I heard about you and you calling people dumbass online. Or I heard about you and you went up in Austin cutting up. Or I heard about you, you be trying to handle women. You ain't have to do that lady like that. You ain't have to do Carmen like that. And you damn sure, that's why I let you know. You put your hand down. You ain't gonna be talking to me no kind of way. So yeah, get some emotional maturity, Mr. Martin. We're not against you. We're just not for this bullshit that you're doing right now. We're not against you. We understand the importance of young leaders, but you got to lead something. And that's what's lacking. You can lead conversations, but where's the work? You can be a senior advisor. You can be a senior advisor, a chief of, you can be a whole bunch of titles, but where is the service? So again, I'm gonna leave y'all with my favorite scripture, because I mean this. Your strength is not for status, it is for service. Get it together. All of us. Let's remember, let's not get so caught up in titles that we miss the mark because we haven't done the work. Remember, you got to be a good and faithful what? Servant. Not just somebody who talk a lot. All right. Peace out. Good night.